well, actually, this this is a little. I have to admit, it's a plastic flying saucer that landed on my desk during the break. So, Richard, you wanted to tell us about this a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, this is just a little model UFO that I've got, and I'm going to use it to try and explain to you how anti-gravity works, how anti-gravity UFOs work.
Okay.
Now, before I start, I need to first explain a little bit about the characteristics of UFO sightings. Now, UFOs on radar are often seen to go through 90-degree angles to change their direction almost instantaneously, or from a standing start on a single radar sweep, they'll be 200 miles away. So they can produce changes in direction and acceleration, which, if performed by a conventional aircraft, would basically kill the occupants inside, because they wouldn't be able to go through such changes in direction.
And they would shake the plane apart probably as well, wouldn't they?
It would, yeah. Now, this isn't just a few people that have reported this kind of activity. You know, there are many radar operators who report this, and thousands of pilots have also reported this characteristic movement. Now, in order to explain why they move in that way, we need to just understand a little bit about gravity. Now, I explained in my last series on UFOs how the Earth, if we consider the Earth is in a gravity well. So if you think of it in a well, the gradient on the well is representative of the attraction of the Earth to all other objects. Okay, so the Earth attracts other objects because it's essentially in a well.
Like the Moon?
Like the Moon. The Moon is also in its own gravity well. Anything which has large mass exhibits a gravity well which attracts mass towards it.
But the Moon is in our gravity well, isn't it?
Well, it's in its own gravity well, and you know the Earth is in the Moon is in the Earth's gravity well, which is effectively rolling round the edge of the Earth's gravity well, which is why it's in orbit.
So it's like a pocket of a snooker table or something. And it's
exactly. Now, if you were able to produce a gravity well which was somewhere away from the Earth, another piece of gravity which would have the same effect, if you were to place an object in between the Earth and that piece of gravity, or that other gravity well, okay, you could get the two to balance out. So the object would essentially just stay in midair. And this is how anti-gravity works. Anti-gravity really is probably not the right term. I would use the word other gravity. So if you imagine the UFO is here and the Earth is here, okay, and it generates a gravity well. Now, I'll just switch on the anti-gravity drive. Okay, there we go.
Oh my goodness,
now,
it lights up.
So the gravity well that the UFO is generating is represented by this black disk. Okay? So the Earth's down here. So under normal circumstances, the UFO would just fall to the Earth, as any other object would. But when it generates this gravity well here, okay, the gravity well is pulling the UFO up in equilibrium to what it's being pulled down by the Earth. So now, physicists listening would say, no, you can't generate a gravity well, that's impossible. The only way to generate a gravity well is by having a large mass. Now, that's because mainstream physicists have been brainwashed by mainstream science. You can generate a gravity well, and UFOs do that by harnessing massive quantities of energy. And how the craft move is that they just reposition this gravity well. So they move it to the left, it would move to the left, and the right, and it would move to the right. Now,
and they can adjust how powerful their gravity well is, can they?
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Because if they were to increase the intensity of this gravity well, the UFO would, or the depth of the gravity well, the UFO would shoot off at incredible speed.
So they can make that. They can basically. Well, the craft falls into.
Exactly. It's like it's falling down a hill.
Yeah.
Now, this was observed at O'Hare International Airport in 2006.
This is Chicago, is it?
I think so.
O'Hare? I think
O'Hare,
it is, yeah.
Now, when it departed vertically upwards, it actually cut a perfect circle in the clouds. Now, the key point to note about...
well, before it hit the clouds, you mean?
Well, as it cut through the clouds, there was just... After it had gone, there was a perfect cylinder through the clouds where there was no cloud left. The key point to note here is that, let's say the UFO positions its gravity well here, and then it turns it up, so it accelerates in that direction, and then it switches that gravity well to over here. Okay, the craft would instantaneously change direction like that, and because it's falling through a gravity field the whole time, the occupants would be weightless throughout, and any physicist will tell you that. The only point where the physicist might disagree with you is whether you can generate a gravity well, but they will tell you that the occupants could be in there, sitting, eating their dinner, repositioning the gravity well, and the craft can be going through the most phenomenal accelerations and speeds.
And their peas wouldn't roll off their forks.
Exactly.
Or their mashed potato.
Exactly. Now, if we accept what I've just said, the physicist would say, well, that would require a huge quantity of energy. So there's no doubt in my mind that UFOs are powered by an advanced power system, either an advanced form of nuclear power, possibly nuclear fusion, or antimatter nuclear power, or zero-point energy. These are proposed power systems that, you know, they're not using jet engines or diesel engines. You know, they don't make any noise. It has to be some kind of advanced power. Now, if we then accept that, and then accept that the Americans have recovered many of these craft and taken them apart and analysed them with a fine-tooth comb.
Right.
I believe they know about this technology. They know about advanced energy technology, which they are keeping from the world, which could solve the energy crisis and get us off fossil fuels. But there are people with vested interest in fossil fuels that prevent that type of energy technology being released into the world. And that's why I believe the UFO subject needs to be politicised, because we need this technology to basically save the Earth.